Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this exploration of the spread deck by Holly Nelson. So Holly sent me her spread deck to take a look at and to share with you guys if I felt so called. And I really did want to get into this with you guys, play around with a little bit and just kind of, I guess, explore. So I had no idea that this existed. This was not even remotely on my radar until Holly reached out to me. Now, I believe in September was when the deck officially opened for pre-orders. So it is relatively new to the market, but this is basically meant to help you build spreads for yourself. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to give some initial impressions. We're going to play with it a little bit, and then we're going to talk comparisons. So I think that this really came about because Holly wanted to create a tool that would help her build spreads for herself. And then just the idea grew from there, right? Now I find tools like this to be incredibly useful because I really enjoy working with tarot spreads. So I'm excited to kind of get into this. This is going to be basically my first impressions, but first off, let's talk production quality. So we have a nice sturdy two-piece box here that is got the little thumb cutouts. Holly signed the inside of my box, which is super cool. And then we have a initial card that we open up to. Now the cardstock on this is a 350 GSM cardstock, and Holly describes it as crispy, which I think I totally get what she means. It's smooth, but it doesn't have that sort of waxy coating on it, so it feels like it'll shuffle really nicely. And there we go. Let's see, I thought there was something else I wanted to say about the cardstock, but I can't remember. So that is basically it for the cardstock. So we have a little title card, and then there is an instruction card in here, which is great. You don't need any kind of a guidebook. The idea is to kind of play with this and make this your own. So, but you do have this sort of instruction sheet and a little bit about the deck here on the back. Now, I will have a link down below to where you can check this out at Holly's Etsy shop. Now, let's get into it. So, again, really nice box. We're just going to set that to the side. Now, Holly included a sun, like a reversible card that has a sun on one side and a moon on the other. In case you like to use a significator, that can work as a significator for you. These are standard tarot size, by the way. I think that's really cool. I don't work with significators a whole lot, but this could be fun to just literally shuffle in here and just see where it comes up. It could be like, okay, I'm going to shuffle this in, and the 3 cards that come up after this are the ones that are going to be my spread. Like, that could be a cool way to do it. So for now, I'm going to set that aside. And let's do a little flip through of all of the cards in the spread deck. Now, actually, no, I lied. Before we do that, one quick feature that I think actually really matters for something like this, there is a center design here that has all 4 of the traditional tools from the tarot. So we have the pentacle, the cup, the sword, and the wand. And then we have a word in the center that tells us what this position is all about if you were to build the spread with this. But what's cool is that at the very top, you also have the same word repeated. And that's nice because if you were to lay a tarot card on top of this card, you could just make sure that that little past is peeking up above your card, which is super handy if you're going to use this to actually lay cards on top of. So let's take a look at all the spread positions that are included in this deck. So we have past, present, and future. That makes sense. We have want and need. Love that. We have cause and effect. Excellent. Hopes and fears. Lie. Focus. Vision. Lesson. Love that. Reward. Truth. Goal. Advice. Reason, help, general, main obstacle, challenge. Main obstacle and challenge do feel similar, but you could actually build a spread with more than one challenge in it by having your main obstacle and then a secondary challenge as well that you're facing. Decision, intuition, influence, attitude, important, current, strengths, solutions, surprise. I love the snap of this cardstock. I will say I do wish there was some like a design on the back. Not that it really matters. Actually, I guess that's more for, what am I even saying? I think that's more for tarot, because for this it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be like laying it and then flipping it, you know? overall outcome, outsider's view, that could be like an external perspective, responsibilities, accomplishment, action needed, considerations, unseen influences, unseen influences, what I need to know, what I know, and what I want to know. I love that set. I call them sets because I can tell that there's some that clearly like are like would group really, really nicely together. Your task, hidden potential, reflect, my perspective, others' perspective, money and finances, family, a family member's opinion. That seems very specific to me compared to the rest of these, but I think that's interesting. Friends, a friend's opinion, legal issue outcome, betrayal, love and romance, romantic connection, specific outcome, fertility, health and wellness, my daily card, my weekly card, problem, advice from spirit, issue, plan, pattern, physical, emotional, spiritual, so that makes sense as a set, passion, withdrawal, ideas, blockage. So to me, blockage and obstacle, again, we've got main obstacle, challenge, and blockage, which do feel like they kind of cover similar styles of energy. Sacrifice, foundation, partnership, relationships. I like that we have both of these because these could imply like a business partnership or romantic if you wanted. And relationships, same thing. You could play with that word. Reason, inspiration, change, and conflict. So quite a mix of keywords here, which is awesome. I have to shuffle these. I know they don't feel like they're in a particular order, like they're kind of grouped together by effect, but I know how I'm going to want to play with this anyway. So one of the things that I really like to use decks like this for is for literally doing a random spread of some kind. And I'm going to share with you the ones that I've worked with before and then how I see this one working similarly. One thing that I really like about this is it's incredibly simple. So it's got a basic keyword and that gives you a lot of places you could potentially take it. So when you have a position like ideas, for example, you can take that in a number of places. This shuffles, by the way, really, really, really nicely. It's incredibly satisfying. I understand why Holly calls it crispy cardstock. It's got a little bit of snap kind of feeling to it. It's hard to describe. Like you can kind of hear it when I like put the card down. Like, I guess they all kind of sound like that. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I understand why she calls it crispy. And, oh, yes. Yeah, I could do this all day. This is nice. It's not overly thick, so it's got some nice bend to it. Okay, enough shuffle talk. I don't know how much we care. Now, okay, I think I was in the middle. I think I interrupted myself. I think I was talking about one of the ways that I like to use a deck like this. So one of the ways I like to use a deck like this is to random draw spreads. I find that if I'm going to build a spread, I would go about this in an entirely different way. So let me just show you my like sort of random spread. And I'm going to grab another tarot deck. So I have my Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot, which I thought would be kind of fun to play with this. Because I want to just show some samples of like how I would work with this. So let's just do a random 3-card spread and see what comes up. I may reorder it. We'll see. But we're going to pull 3 spread positions and just see what comes up. This can be a great way to shake up your daily draw practice too. So let's pull 3. Oh, of course, I get legal issue outcome. That's very specific. I will say this is one that I would probably, for myself, for my own personal use, I'd probably remove it from the deck. In fact, I'm going to set it aside now because to me, that's very specific. And I don't typically go to my tarot cards for legal issues, nor do I read for clients on legal issues. So let's try another 3 here. Relationships, strengths, and physical. Let's see, relationships, strengths, and physical. Okay, so maybe what I would do is something like this, is I would look at what relationship am I looking at? What are the strengths of that relationship? And what are the physical or tangible things I can do to improve, grow, or strengthen that relationship? So again, there's a bit of a creativity piece here, right? Because physical could just be referring to a physical body, or you could, there's a number of ways you can take this. I will say that's one thing I like about having a single prompt, because you can kind of take it wherever you might want to take it. So for now, I'm going to do, what relationship should I look at? So which relationship is this reading going to be about? What relationship needs my attention? That kind of a thing. So let's just see. What relationship needs my attention? And let's just see. Okay. The Knight of Cups. So I would be thinking about it in this case, because I've drawn a court card, I would be specifically thinking about a relationship with somebody who's a little bit on the touchy-feely side. Let's say for the sake of this example that this is referring to our youngest, who is living on his own. We also haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks, so this might be a good reminder to sort of touch base, but this is the relationship currently one that is needing my attention at the moment. Okay, so what are the strengths in that relationship? Things that I can lean into. I'm just going to cut the deck rather than do a whole reshuffle. What are some strengths I can look at with regard to that relationship? The Eight of Wands. So I see this is often a momentum card for me. It's about things kind of taking on a life of their own. That could imply that there's a certain amount of cruising going on within the relationship, which is kind of normal. So that's fine. But what sort of tangible or physical actions can I take to improve this relationship? And I have the Magician. So that could be about accessing all the tools. So if I were to think about this in a more literal sense, since I'm looking for like a physical or tangible sort of piece of advice, the Magician utilizes emotion, actual resources, intellect, and like passion to interact, right? So I'm like, okay, I've got to use all four tools. So to me, this would imply that something that's going to involve all of those things. So physical contact, obviously, the intellect, the heart, and passion, to me, that would be like, okay, maybe we should actually get together. The other thing about the Magician is, maybe not in this deck, but traditionally you'd see a table. So it could be like a little nod to have a meal maybe. So I totally just went off into La La Land with that. But I just wanted to show an example of how you can totally do a random draw and then kind of just creatively build a spread from there. So let's try another one. Money and finances, betrayal, and accomplishment. Oh, interesting. Okay, so when it comes to money and finances, in this case, I'm going to put this like this. And I'm going to go, okay, instead of pulling a card for this position, I'm going to consider this like the theme of the reading. And I'm going to go, where is there sort of a downfall financially? I know betrayal would usually imply an interpersonal situation, but where is there a downfall financially? And then where is there a boon currently in my financial world? So where is there a downfall and where is there a boon or a benefit? So in the downfall, we have the Hermit. And in the boon, we have the Eight of Swords. So perhaps, so if I'm thinking of a downfall when it comes to money and finances and I get the Hermit card, it could be that solo work hasn't been working out the way that I've wanted it to work out. I'm just making this up. Could be that like the side gig, the thing I'm doing on my own, that thing, yeah, it could be a little bit better. Okay, let's look at where I'm doing well. The Eight of Swords is an overwhelm of ideas. It's almost like there's so many ideas that it's hard to like narrow it down. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know how well my random draws are working. Let's try something a little more intentional and go from there. So let's take a look at the deck. So we have future, focus, reason, action needed. Okay, let's do an action needed. Let's do love and romance, passion, conflict. Okay, let's try this. And let's try, let's do important. Yeah, there's also fertility in here, which could be expansive or could be too specific, just depends. Let's talk about, okay, so we've got passion and conflict, love and romance, action needed. What else, maybe? Let's do foundation and I want something kind of positive. Let's do emotional. Okay, so just kind of flipping through to kind of see what would make sense, right? So if I wanted to do a love and relationship reading, right? I could be like love and romance, and I'm going to set that off to the side as kind of the theme. I'm not going to have that be a spread position. I'm going to say, okay, what is the foundation of this relationship? What is the status of the emotional landscape of that relationship? Let's do it like this. Okay, what's the status of the emotional landscape? What about the chemistry, the passion? How's the state of like sort of fire, right? And then where's their conflict? And what I just realized is I've created an elemental, and then what's the action needed? I just created an elemental spread, which is really super cool. So foundation could very likely be earth, right? So what is the foundation of the relationship? What is the earth of the relationship? Emotional, that could be water, right? What is the cup situation of the relationship? Passion is great for fire, and conflict would be great for swords. So or for air. So I've got earth. Let's just put it in its proper elemental order here. Earth, air, fire, and water. So the earth, air, fire, and water. I love this. This actually is really cool. And I just came up with that on the fly. Okay, so this is fun. This is what I love about decks like this, is they can really springboard, and you can end up creating spreads that you might go back to again and again and again. So let's do a little reading. I'm going to do a hypothetical relationship. So we're going to say we're reading for April. And this is not any specific April. I just picked a name out of a hat here in my head. So let's take a look at April's relationship. So what is the foundation of April's relationship? What is earth? What is stable? And we have the Six of Wands. So there's a lot there's like a good recognition between the two partners, right? There's a good recognition of each other. It's like they're able to be grateful for one another. They see each other in a way where they can celebrate their successes as a couple, which is awesome. Okay, but where is their conflict? And we have the Death card. So somebody needs to let go of something. There's a transition needed, and one of the partners is doing better than the other at maybe making that transition in their relationship. What do we need to know about the fire in the relationship? What's the status of the passion? Oops, I pulled the wrong card. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles indicates to me a very slow burn. It's very stable, it's long lasting, but it's maybe lacking some of that intensity that could be kind of fun. And then we have our emotional landscape. So what's the status of the emotions in the relationship? And we have the King of Cups. So to me, again, that speaks to stability and longevity. So things are looking pretty good. What is the next action needed to support this relationship? And we have the Fool, a little bit more abandon, a little more risk taking. We can definitely see that down here where we have all of this like stability and kind of heaviness. Things need to be maybe lightened up, a little bit more play. We've got this like laughing fool jumping through the hoop. Okay, so that's a really cool little spread that I just built because I pulled love and romance as my theme and then sort of just pulled things as they sort of jumped out at me. And that's the cool thing about a deck like this, is you can kind of just play around with it, right? And see what jumps out at you. So like maybe I'll do something similar and I'll go health and wellness. I'll go need, focus, and actually I'll go what I need to know. And then focus, what else would be good? What a challenge might be, and what my focus needs to be. Sure, let's play with that. Okay, so when it comes to health, so again, we're going to stick this up here as kind of a theme, and we're going to do this 3 card. So in health, what do I need to know? What is the challenge, and where should I focus? So again, we're just going to be hypothetical here. Okay, when it comes to health and wellness, what do I need to know? And we have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles, lots of things going on, perhaps too many things going on. There could be a tendency for physical overwhelm. For challenge, I'm literally just going intuitively here, guys. I'm not going on rote meanings necessarily. The challenge, Six of Swords, something's trying to be left behind. So perhaps trying to leave behind a bad habit, trying to move on to better habits, that sort of thing I could see in this one. And then the focus of the health journey should be the Queen of Cups, which right away that's like almost like, to me, that feels like nurturing and self-care and intuition. So maybe intuitive eating, things like that. You could totally play depending on how you read. Now, I think some people, depending on how creative you feel with these prompts, you might be better served to literally stack them up in different categories, pile them up, try to come up with different like alignments, maybe start by building smaller spreads, or finding one where you're like, yeah, I'd like to do a reading that involves my current moment, my fears, a decision I need to make. I mean, like you can totally just fool around and see what jumps out at you, right? Like, so cards like fertility for me, Fertility and legal issue outcome feel specific. But again, decks like these are designed to suit a wide variety of reading styles. If these were topics that were important to me, then this would be in here. Then something else to keep in mind is that fertility could also be about like what you want to grow, nurture, or create. The lie one is interesting. Yeah, like I really like the idea that there's like truth and then there's lie. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of fun. I don't know. I'm just playing. I'm just playing on camera. Okay, so this might be a fun thing to do. It's like, where am I? What is the lie? Like, what am I lying to myself about? Maybe what you could look at a situation and go, what is the lie? What is the truth? And what is my intuition telling me? And that could be a really cool 3-card spread to do. Let's see what else jumps out at us here. Yeah, we've got things like cause and effect. I like the what I want to know versus what I need to know. I think that's pretty cool, actually. I wonder if I already got the what I need to know one. I think I did. Pass it already. Yeah, what I need to know, what I want to know. What I want to know, what I need to know. And maybe considerations. So that could be a cool one. What I want to know, what I need to know, and considerations. So it's a cool concept, right? It's like, it just depends on how you like to put spreads for yourself together. I can't get over that shuffle. It's so good. So playing around with it, I feel like there's a lot of potential for a deck like this. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities to sort of build your own spreads, to help yourself form questions if you're feeling stumped. I think tools like this are going to be helpful for those of you who want something to kind of kickstart your creativity when it comes to building your own spreads. Or maybe you want to workshop, and that's something I wanted to talk about too. Maybe you want to workshop a spread. Maybe you're trying to build spreads. That's something that you're working on in your personal practice, but you want something to kind of help you literally lay them out. You could make something like this for yourself, or you could buy something like this. I do think things like this can often be a convenient tool, but are not something that are like you absolutely must have by any stretch. But it can be useful to kind of think, okay, I want to build a relationship spread. And as you saw, I was able to build an elemental relationship spread that I actually think is really cool and that I may end up writing down and using in the future. And sometimes just sitting and playing with things like this can really give you some ideas for what you might want to do spreads about. Like, I can just flip through here and go, what is jumping out at me? Like, what is jumping out at me that might be a really cool spread? Like, one of the things here, my perspective, and there was stuff in here about other people's opinions, right? So maybe it might be neat to have a spread that's all about my perspective, a family member's opinion. Like, let's say I was trying to make a big decision, right? Or I was trying to explore my views on something, and I wanted to sort of check myself. So I could have my perspective, a family member's opinion, a friend's opinion, and an outsider's view, and I know there's something in here. I'm thinking about it. Some considerations, maybe. Ah, here we go. This is great. Okay, so this is something where it's like you just get to play. You know what it is? It's like a tarot toy. That's what this is. So, okay, so you have my perspective, right? A family member's opinion, a friend's opinion, and the outsider's view. So I could have like a situation that I'm trying to figure out, right? And I could go, okay, what do I need to know about like my mom's opinion about this? Like how could, especially if you're in a situation where people are just giving you tons of like maybe unsolicited advice about a situation and you're like, I just want to get clarity. Like I just want to get clear, right? So you could explore your perspective. You could explore your family member, your friend, and an outsider's view. Like, how might an outsider view this situation, right? Because you've got all these opinions coming from close to you. You have your own opinions. Then what are you getting from outside of yourself? And then underneath it, you can go, okay, but what are some considerations that I need to be aware of? But ultimately, what do I need to know to move forward in whatever this situation is? So a spread like this, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Cool, right? Like, it just kind of gives you a place that you can go to work through a problem or a situation, especially if you are like, I want to pull cards on blah, but there's no existing spread I know of that's going to really cover it for me. And I want to get at the crux of the matter. And as you flip through and you think about your problem, different cards or different themes will jump out at you. And you're going to be like, okay, I really want to know what's important. I want to know what my blockage is. I want to know what my intuition's telling me. And I want a solution, dang it. You know what I mean? Like, so depending on what it is you're trying to untangle or what it is you're trying to unpack with your tarot reading for yourself that day, this can be a really great tool for reading for yourself. I personally don't think I would go to a tool like this for clients or to build readings for clients, just because I don't see myself reaching for it in that way. But this kind of stuff can be really great, particularly if you feel like your tarot practice has been kind of getting a little too routine or a little too boring, but you really do want to pull cards for yourself every day. Things like this can help you shake up what you normally do. Building a few simple like 1, 2, or 3 card spreads that you can do as a daily draw, if you're into daily draws, or a weekly draw or whatever, can be a great way to sort of get out of the box that you're used to being in when it comes to your tarot practice. Because I don't know about you guys, but I love playing with my cards, and every once in a while things start to get a little bit stagnant and I want to shake them up. And so I feel like tools like this, while I don't reach for them very, very often, are little luxuries that I can reach for to shake things up when I want to. And I think that the spread deck would probably help you do that pretty effectively. And so it's cute. And I do like, it's such a silly thing to be excited about, but these little titles at the top so that you can have your card just below it is such a practical little thing. I love that. So that's just kind of my initial impressions, a little bit of playing around and goofing with these cards and just giving you some of my off-the-cuff thoughts, building some sample spreads together. I mean, I hope this gives you an idea of how you might use something like this. As I mentioned before, I will have a link down below where you can check out Holly's Etsy shop. She has lots of great goodies, including these really awesome witchy things that you can check out. And I will, like I said, have a link to that down below so that you can check it out at your leisure. As always, thank you so, so much for hanging out with me. And don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed this video, if you found value in it. Subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to click the little notification bell so you're notified of all my future videos. Thank you all so, so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.